Thank you very much for your time and your interest to join our event today. So the event I would also introduce to all of you since we opened the sign up for about a week ago. We got many people interested from 6 different continents, majority from Asia, 44%, and 35% from Europe. Surprisingly, they are from different 39 countries. And together is 130 participants has been enrolled for this event. So let's see, maybe they're coming more and more later on. So the agenda for the webinar today, as I already introduced very fast, maybe 1 or 2 minutes, and then we will start with the first presentation from Lauri Sikanen. And secondly, we have the presentation from Mauricio Acuna. And we will follow up with a question and discussion about 10 to 15 minutes. At the end, we're going to conclude our webinar and also promoting some upcoming events at the latest. So may I introduce our first speaker, Dr. Lauri Sikanen. He is a group manager of forest technology and wood material solutions from the Luque. So he has been working for several years. He is an expertise in timber harvesting, the biomass, and also wood material solutions. So now the floor is yours, Lauri Sikanen. So please join me welcoming the Lauri Sikanen. So the floor is yours. Lauri, do you want me to share your slides or you will share by yourself?
Thank you very much, Professor Nopparat Kakkurivaara. I try to share my slides. Hopefully it works. If something happens, then we can change the plan. And also hello to Tommy, who I see there on online. And thank you very much for this opportunity to give this speech in this seminar. The topic is really interesting and important, and it was a great pleasure to construct this 20-minute presentation. I will now share my presentation. Can you see it now?
Yes.
I try to put it in presentation mode. Can you still see it?
Not yet. Maybe it's quite delayed.
What about now?
Still same.
Okay, it seems
there with the PDF.
Yeah, it seems that it is not working in presentation mode. But if you can see my presentation in this mode, I think that we can use this.
Okay. Yeah. Please.
You can see it. Okay.
Yeah.
Then no problem. Yes, my presentation, Forest as a Resource of Sustainable Future, and Case Finland. So that just in case that you are not too familiar with Finland, Finland is one of the most forested countries in European Union. Together with Sweden, land is covered by forests. Definitely almost totally, except this up north part of Finland, and our forest land area is about 30 million hectares. The forest area is 26 million, and total land area is about 30 million. And Finland is quite easy place for forestry because we have basically 3 main tree species. We have pine, spruce, and then birch as a main broad-leaved tree, so that it makes it, if we compare it with many other countries, it makes our operational environment pretty straightforward. Even though we have many other tree species naturally growing in Finland, but our quite active forest management has changed the situation so that mainly our forests are full of pine, spruce, and broad-leaved, especially birch as a broad-leaved tree. And here you can see forest map of Europe by European Forest Institute. and Finland is there in the northern part of the map. And now when we are checking numbers, it is also really important to remember that our country, our population is relatively small, so that it is only 5.6 million people who are living in Finland. And then when we look the situation on global markets, that how Finland is behaving or succeeding in forest bioeconomy business and markets globally, we can see that we are much bigger there than what is our population. So that in lumber we are number 6 in the world. Paper and paperboard exports. This is exports figures. Paper and paperboard we are number 5, and in pulp we are number 5. So that of course Canada and Russia are really big producers in lumber, and Canada in pulp, and then Brazil in pulp. But basically we are there in top 6 in all of these categories with this population of 5.6 million people, which is describing that how important exports of forest products is for Finland. Finnish forest value chain is basically, it is described here, that kind of simplified version of the value chain. And it is really important that we have this private forest owner there on the left corner or side of the picture, because Finnish forests are owned by private people, private individuals. I am also forest owner. I got my forests from my mother, and she got her forest from his father. And this kind of over generation, long-lasting, family-based forest ownership is really typical, and that is also creating that kind of basis for efficient wood production in Finland. Then our trees are harvested by single grip harvesters, basically 100%, and taken to the roadside with forwarders, and then to the factory by timber trucks, and then basically the factory, and of course after that those export channels are part of the value chain, and then customers are distributed worldwide. But it is really important to understand the situation that this private forest owner is a really important part of the value chain, and it is also getting quite nice share from that added value in this chain. But then what comes to dimensions of sustainability? This is really interesting question for Finland, especially because we are part of European Union. And in European Union situation is that kind that quite many countries like UK is a good example, really important country, powerful, not nowadays anymore in European Union, but earlier it was part of that. Then we have also Netherlands, France, Spain, that kind of countries which have already basically the amount of forest is really small compared to the size of the country, but they have really strong role in the European Union, and they are affecting to the forest policy in European Union, and that's why there's a lot of pressure for different kind of uses of forests in Finland and in Sweden, because we have those forests left, and the freedom, our own freedom, is decreasing by the European Union legislation, that how much we can actually decide by ourselves that what we should do with our forests. These dimensions of sustainability, I put 4 of those here, so that quite often when we are thinking about sustainability, ecological is almost synonym for sustainability. So that if it is not especially mentioned that we are talking about some other dimension, it is basically ecological sustainability. Economic sustainability is really important if we want to create sustainable business and benefit the operational environment. social sustainability is really important because forests have so many different kind of uses, and it's also really important that how this benefit is distributed among those contributors to the value chain. And then cultural sustainability is I wanted to add it here because forests are part of culture, and especially working in forest is part of culture. And if we want to change something in our forestry work or operational environment, this forest, we need to understand the culture and consider this cultural sustainability. Otherwise, we easily fail. And these are not in any kind of order. In these illustrations here, these figures, this is describing that how these dimensions are discussed in decision making. Sometimes some of those dimensions is mentioned to be the basis for all others, and then the importance is basically decreasing when we are going upwards. Then sometimes they are just treated equally. But I like most this blue picture on right hand side, where we have these overlapping figures, so that we can't keep all of these dimensions everywhere similarly strong all the time. Otherwise, it is really difficult to operate. We need to balance so that which of those dimensions we are somehow favoring in different kind of situations in our operational environment. Here you can see the development of growing stock in Finland, so that in our forests we have about 2.5 billion cubic meters of trees, and the amount of them started to increase really rapidly in late 60s and 70s, when we started really intensive forest management and also ditching of our peatlands. We have a lot of peatlands in Finland, and that kind of ditching campaigns improved those growing conditions, and our forest resources started to grow remarkably. But only 1/3 of that growth is from peatlands. The rest is from intensified forest management operations. And basically we can see that our forest resources have been growing basically since 70s, and at the same time we have been harvesting also quite much our trees, so that we have been harvesting cumulatively 2 billion cubic meters altogether from 1980 until now. And at the same time our forest resources have been growing with 1 billion. So that describes that what is the efficiency of timber growth and timber production in Finland, even though we are living in really northern conditions where rotation of trees is really easily over 70 years. So ecological sustainability is really interesting. Earlier in Finland, we used to think that if we are harvesting less than our forests are growing, that we are sustainable also from ecological point of view. But nowadays the thinking is a bit different, so that we are much more concerned about different kind of biotopes and nature loss and success of different flora and fauna species. And one of those critical things in Finnish forestry is the amount of dead trees, because we have been harvesting those trees which are supposed to die soon. We have been removing them from our forests, and then we have been using also earlier a lot of these dead trees for energy production, and that's why those insects and fungi, for example, which are needing dead wood material to live, they are getting really rare in Finland. But then we started to do these operations to improve the situation of ecological sustainability and biodiversity. The problem is that people have excuse me, people have difficulties to understand the slow dynamics of boreal forest, so that even though we have been doing these operations already about 20 years, those effects can be seen really slowly. Everything is going to the better direction, but people think that the speed should be faster. and that is causing challenges for forestry and especially forest industry. Our harvesting methods in Finland, they have been they have been mainly, if we are only measuring hectares, they have been mainly selective cuttings in Finland, so that we are basically harvesting with selective cuttings, thinnings, and other selective cuttings twice as much as what we are harvesting with clear cuts. And then the newest thing what we have is this continuous cover forestry, where clear cuts are not used at all at any stage of the rotation, and that is increasing. It has been increasing during last 10 years, and nowadays we have something like 20,000 hectares annually, which is harvested by this CCF method. About economic sustainability in Finland, wood supply is very complicated because we have those small forest holdings owned by individual people, and those people, they have high independence for their decisions. Stumpage prices are high. Those private forest owners are owning quite nice money from timber sales. And the logistics is really challenging, and we have, of course, really hard winter, a lot of snow, which is also causing some challenges. And these harvesting and transportation systems must be well planned and super efficient if we want to be competitive on global markets, because also our products need to travel quite long way before they are with the customers. And that's why the whole value chain and especially this harvesting of raw material and this supply chain must be super efficient. So that's why these innovations, efficient systems, and educated workforce, they are really important for Finland. So that, for example, we have schools in Finland which are dedicated to train those harvester and forwarder operators, and they can't be found in many places globally. Here you can see the development of machines which are working in our forest, so that you can see that we have roughly 2,000 harvesters, forwarders, and trucks in our wood harvesting these supply chains working all the time. Social sustainability. Finnish speciality is the sharing of added value in forestry. Large number of forest owners, they are getting money from timber sales, and 60,000 people from this 5.6 million, they have well-paid jobs in forestry. And machines and equipment what we are using in value chain are mostly done in Finland, which is also part of the social sustainability and the influence to the society. And then really important part is this everyone's rights in Finland, which are enabling the utilization of berries and mushrooms and recreation, so that it's not basically allowed to restrict access to the forest land, so that everyone can right to go to forest everywhere in Finland, also foreigners, and they can go and pick berries and mushrooms and use forest for recreation. They are not allowed to cut down trees, for example, but all other uses of forest is allowed, and that is really good from social sustainability point of view, so that forests are open for everyone. Here you can see the importance of private forest ownership, so that we can see that if we are only looking growing stock, the private ownership is about 65%. But then if we are looking annual increment, it is higher, and that means that private people are owning better land than, for example, state and companies in general. And we have about 350,000 forest owners, which are that kind of serious forest owners. Sometimes we can see number 600,000, which is including basically everything, but 350 is more that kind of more professional like forest owners, and they are annually earning about 2 billion euros as stumpage fees for their income. in this figure, we won't go into details. These are some numbers what you can check later. This material is available. One important thing which I want to highlight is this energy generation in Finland as a part of the value chain, so that wood is expensive in Finland. That's why we are using basically every piece of it. Every piece what we are harvesting will be used for something valuable. Of course, energy production is sometimes criticized that it's not that valuable, but anyway, it is mainly utilizing side streams. And energy is important for Finland because we are living in cold climate, so that use these residual streams from forest industry for energy is definitely better than not to use them at all. And the importance of them is really high in our energy production in Finland. Cultural sustainability. We have over generation family-based forest ownership, like I said. We use forests for recreation, berry picking, hunting. We have everyone's rights. Then we have strong culture of forest work. And then, which is also typical for Finland, forest operations can be seen everywhere, so that they are not isolated from people. So that when you are driving by car or by train in Finland, you can really easily see forest operations, harvesters and forwarders at the roadside. And then, because we have so many forest owners among of us, this kind of practical aspects of forestry are present basically almost everywhere nowadays, and they have been in history. But what about the future? That is probably a bit different, because here I have been summarizing at the end of my presentation that what's going on with these different dimensions of sustainability in wood harvesting and in our value chains. Ecological sustainability is definitely going to the better direction. We made mistakes in 60s and 70s and also early 80s in our forestry, which were affecting negatively to the biodiversity. But we have learned our lessons, and now things are definitely getting to the better direction. Some people think that the speed it should be faster. Development should be faster. We should do more and more, and of course we need to improve all the time and do better than before. But still, the direction is to positive, towards positive future. Economic sustainability has been pretty stable, and we have some challenges, for example, which are coming from European Union legislation, etc., and directives. But still, I believe that we can maintain pretty good economic sustainability, so that we don't need to be too afraid about that. Social sustainability is slightly going down. It is decreasing because of the urbanization, so that people are forest owners are getting older, and younger generation is not anymore that interested about forest ownership. Culture is changing. People are moving to cities where the forests are a bit more distant, and that's why this social aspect is weakening. I would say that this is the trend, and then this cultural sustainability is something which is going down, so that our culture is changing. And internationally, we are talking about social licensing, that how good license to operate forestry has in society, which is related to culture a lot. And I would say that, like in many other countries, Western countries especially, this social licensing is getting weaker, so that there are more stakeholders, more opinions, which we need to consider, and people have, of course, rights to their opinions, and it's okay, it's good that they affect the decision making. And this cultural dimension from forest industry point of view is going down. Then we have these new dimensions, like use forest for recreation more, and different kind of recreation, and that kind of mental wellness and things like that, which are of course welcome. They are changing the cultural dimension. Okay, my 20 minutes is gone. Thank you very much for
that's
listening, and I will be here for your questions.